All right, so I think I think we just did 37. I think this might be 38. We just reviewed the Cliff Notes of conversion code. So now we're talking about meaningful conversation, informational rapport building conversation that includes specific information regarding their home search and or plans and permission to follow up or an appointment. So when we say meaningful conversation in that role play we just did, one would have been, let me send you the link to our website, and we'll follow up, in the future. That's an option. That's a meaningful conversation. You got permission to follow up and put them on a nurture. And a better one would have been you got an appointment. Right? But
Right.
anything in there of like you've made a connection is a meaningful conversation. You've made forward progress to lead toward a relationship. This can come in the form of permission to send them listings, adjust their search, showing appointment, buyer presentation, consult, sign buyer's agency or contract ratified. And then it has the goal we just talked about, 30 to 40 meaningful conversations per week with people you didn't talk to last week. So consistently make a compelling offer. What is the gold brick that you're laying on the table over and over and over again? So I know you had a cheat sheet with some open-ended questions, and we went over those last time in the role play. What are some gold bricks that you can throw out there anywhere in the conversation when the opportunity arises? You just can kind of say, one of the things that a lot of our customers really appreciate is, is that something that would be of interest to you? Or does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, so what are some examples of that?
Definitely, like we talked about, off-market properties.
Off-market properties?
Yep. We've got maybe if you're able to maybe help them prioritize their search a little bit better.
Help them prioritize their search a little bit better to get a better save search sent to them of properties sent to them, so they're not seeing irrelevant properties.
Right. Yep. Maybe depending on if they just want in this property to definitely go ahead and do your best to make that happen.
Get them in the property. Yep. If they want to see it, give it to them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anything else?
In terms of talk about off-market properties, I had one in my mind. Now it's escaping me.
So another one that we didn't talk about is a lot of people appreciate this.
Yep.
And even though they appreciate it, they won't buy them. But it's an item of value. Is foreclosures. Foreclosures. So it's easy to get to go into the multi-list and just there's 4 listing agents that all they do is foreclosures, bank foreclosures. And I know their names. And it's easy to just search by listing agent and put their names in and hit active, and then up will come every active property listed with those 4 agents, and almost all of them are going to be foreclosures. And so you can say, because they can't search, it's really hard to search for bank owned only. Even on Zillow, they say there's a search for it, but it's really not accurate. So I can say to somebody, one of the things our customers really appreciate is just like well-priced properties that are good deals in the market that they can't find anywhere else. We have a list of foreclosure properties, bank-owned properties, and discounted properties. Is that something that would make sense? That would be helpful to you? So throw that out there.
Yeah, that made me think of the one we talked about earlier with the ones that are inactive that didn't sell.
Yep.
So pull those up.
Yep. So properties and that's usually when I say off-market properties, I can say, so some of that might be a coming soon property, but also properties that people tried to sell, but it didn't sell in the last year, or withdrawn properties and they didn't sell for some reason. You can't find those on a lot of the consumer sites, but I can put a list of those, and most of our customers really appreciate seeing those because they can't find them anywhere else. How's that sound? Yep, throw that out there. Another one is just, and you can use it as part of the oral consumer notice or as part of just the educational process about our industry. And that's just this soft item of value that I probably used. I would say when I was in production and doing new business development, I used this as much as any. And I didn't even go for it hard. I was just like, it was just part of my conversation. I would say, so Andrew, how long have you been looking for properties? Go ahead.
Probably about 3 months.
About 3 months. And is this your first home?
This is our first home.
Okay, cool. So how many properties have you inquired on, like on Zillow and stuff?
Oh, Probably 5 to 10.
Yeah, you getting some calls from some agents?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. It happens. You're probably gonna get bombarded from people like me, these crazy realtors calling you, blowing up your phone. Has any of them stopped to tell you about like what Pennsylvania entitles you to as a buyer, like what the laws are around what you're entitled to?
No, not really.
Okay, most of them don't. For some reason, people just don't like take the time to do it. I'm just a big advocate of before you waste a lot of time clicking on properties, and a lot of these agents aren't going to do it. I just feel like part of my job is to inform people. You don't need to work with me or anything. I'm not asking for that, but just quick, just you have just a minute. I'll go over it with you. Okay, so in Pennsylvania, you're entitled to have a buyer's agent, and that might not be me, right? I do that. I'd love to, we could interview or something, but you might find somebody that you like better than me. But I just encourage people to talk to at least 2 agents. Um, Ultimately, you're gonna learn this, and I don't want it to be too late for you to learn it. But when you click on a property you call on a sign, chances are you may be talking to the person who represents the seller of the property. And when my dad and grandfather were in business, that's all they had was seller agency, and so you'd always talk to the person that represented the best interest of the seller. And if you ask that person, hey, what should I offer? Their obligation was to get the seller the most amount of money. So they'd probably answer, well, it's priced reasonably. You should offer full price. In like 2001, the state of Pennsylvania flipped that on its head and said, we're going to allow buyers they have the right to their own agent. And most of the time, they don't even have to pay for it. It's free. Sometimes there's a transaction fee of a few $100, but more often than not, the fee gets paid by the listing agent. And as soon as most buyers realize this, they stop inquiring with like 30 different properties and talking to 30 different agents who are all like representing a seller, and they say, gosh, it makes total sense for me to have my own agent who I go to with every question on every property out there, and their responsibility is to me and to answer all. And I have this advocate who's looking out for me in the process. And by the way, they get paid. The listing agent actually has to share half their commission with that buyer's agent. And then you say, well, it might cost me more to use the buyer's agent, but no, if you went direct to the listing agent, they're still going to get paid the full fee. They're just going to represent the seller and you at the same time, which could be conflicted. But if you have a buyer's agent, they give half of that fee to the buyer's agent. They're obligated to. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Has anybody talked to you about that before?
No, not in that depth.
If you feel like you're going to buy a house, is that something that you'd want to do?
Yeah, that makes sense to have somebody in my corner fighting for me in a way.
Yeah, cool. So, I don't know that I'm the right fit for you, but it seems to make sense just to go over that briefly, and then you can interview somebody else too. What time do you usually get off work during the week?
About 5.
Okay, cool. This is Wednesday. Are you free Wednesday?
Yeah, I might be able to make that work.
Great. So why don't we put in our calendars at 5:30? Just pop in for 15 minutes. I'll go over in more detail with you and your spouse what that looks like in Pennsylvania, and then I'll get you on your way. I'll give you a copy of a blank one of these forms. It's called an employment contract. You guys can read over at your convenience. If you feel like calling me back someday as you get closer, you can, okay?
Sure. Yeah,
all right, I'll see you then. Okay, good. So just that right there is something so many of these buyers haven't heard. And if you can just ask the question, has anybody actually talked to you about your rights in PA? See what they say, and then let that lead into the gold brick. You can set an appointment off that. You don't need to go into off-market properties. Like I said before, if you just say, let's come in and talk about a buyer's agency, usually people don't bite on that. But if you ask them first and kind of go into the way that I did it, people will bite on it a lot. So anyway, that's a really good gold brick. So those are the ones. So it's buyer's agency, off-market properties, foreclosures, tightening up their search on the search engine. Another gold brick is I don't want you to be hassled by like 15 realtors. So I'm gonna help you out here, and I'm gonna get you on a website that that we have. It's proprietary in the marketplace. It's gonna give you more accurate data than Zillow, and that nobody's gonna hassle you. You're gonna search for free with not a bunch of realtors calling you. How's that sound? Like there's another one. And so the ones that will get them in the office are the off-market properties, the list of foreclosures, and the buyer's agency review. The ones that are going to be permission to follow up are going to be like tighten up your search to get you more relevant information that's proprietary right to the multi-list, or free searching, so you're not hassled by a bunch of agents like you would be on Zillow every time you click on a property. Why don't I get you that? So those are permission to follow up, not appointment items of value. The appointment items of value are the other ones. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Moving down here. So those are our gold bricks. You should write those down on your same sheet that you gave the open-ended questions. And in the 30-day fast start, I have those gold bricks bulleted out right there in page 32, 33. All right, and then the next phase of this is book the appointment. I just want to review this last section because it'll kind of wrap up all the whole structure we'll call conversation, and that is just to review the book the appointment section. So one of the best methods of securing a relationship is to book the appointment early on in the conversation. At about the time you sense the prospect understands that you have things of value that are helpful to them, go ahead and attempt to trial close. So all these items of value, whether they want to see a property, that's an item of value, the off-market properties, all this stuff, it could come early, it could come after you dig deep and have a meaningful conversation, it could come somewhere in between. The moment that you feel you have something that they might have some interest in, don't set the appointment, just say, how's that sound? And then shut up. Or, does that make sense? And then shut up. And if their response to the how's that sound or does that make sense is affirmative, then just say, okay, great, after talking with you, it seems to make sense. We might just come to the office for about 15 minutes. We can go over that info. What time do you get off work during the week? What time's a good time after work? So there that's a secondary close. And then, okay, great. How's tomorrow look after 5:30 then? I have an opening between 5 and 6. Or else Thursday between 5 and 6. And then let them pick one. Right? And so that's the deal. That's like the last two trainings we've gone over all these role plays and all these tools that you can use, and we've totally unpacked like the call from a really deep level. But ultimately it comes back to, do you have something of value that they want? And are you able to say the words it takes to work them into yes, come into the office? Those are the two questions. And if you can do that, you'll book appointments. And if you can't, you won't. You'll struggle tremendously. So practice those things in role play with a recorder or with your spouse. And we're going to be doing more role play along those lines in the near future. Any questions?
No, that's good.
All right, good.